Waiting on line one, we're speaking with Keith, who wants to talk about the environmental effects of Muskrat Falls. Welcome to the show, Keith.
I think that's Kevin.
Kevin. Hello, Kevin. I can't read.
Yeah, that's okay, boy. You'll get glasses soon.
And my dad's an optometrist, so that's the biggest irony in the world.
Yes, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were talking about that environmental issue there with all the wood, and
yes, sir.
Something came to mind there years ago here with in Grand Falls, Windsor, with the mill when they were debarking wood in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the problems, I think, was that the bark has a high content of, or turns into mercury, right? And then nothing grows in it, you know. And,
the bark of all trees?
It's those trees, well, the spruce trees and that anyway, whatever they were doing, right?
Okay.
And the high volume of bark there, that's what happens. It turns into mercury.
Wow.
Or there's a mercury content in it after so many years, and nothing grows in it for God only knows how long. Huh? So that's probably one of the reasons of an environmental impact, you know.
Yeah, well, wow, that's so, trees and mercury. I'm going to look into that, Kevin, because I've never heard of that, and that's kind of scary. Trees turn into mercury, which I guess you're saying sort of...
No, we're talking about the bark.
Bark, yeah, tree bark turns into mercury, which essentially gets into the soil. So how did you guys deal with that in Grand Falls, Windsor?
It was all discontinued, eh?
What was discontinued?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if that was one of the reasons for it, but when they were doing it, they had to shoot the bark around so that it wouldn't be in piles, eh? All right? So, you know, that was one of the reasons, I think, was because it's probably one of the reasons why, too, that in 96 they got off the river, because this stuff there would be tons and tons of bark would come off the wood and go into the waterway, right? You know? So
you think that, and what type of tree was that?
That was black spruce.
Black spruce. Okay, so what is the tree that they were cutting up in Labrador with, you know, the giant wall?
Most of that too, I would say.
Is it the same black spruce?
Well, it was spruce. One of it, you know, white spruce, black spruce, you know, balsam fir, whatever, right? Okay. So I think that's one of the reasons. I thought I just mentioned that to you tonight. So
is it a process where the chemicals that are used in the plants in Grand Falls, Windsor would create mercury, or is it just by virtue of the tree itself, the bark turns into poison?
Oh, just that there's such a mass amount of bark, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, right. It wasn't chemically treated or nothing, right? This is just trees growing in the woods and whatever, right? Okay. Because wouldn't that make for a poison forest? Well, that's what I was saying there earlier, that, you know, they had to give up because nothing would grow in it. You know, in volume, you know, like when it's accumulated, right, that way. Wow, that's scary. So it just gets there, breaks down, ferments and whatever, right? Okay. You know, So in order for it to ferment, of course, you need warmer temperatures than you would probably find in Labrador, hey? Well, not necessarily, because... you know, you pull bark up anywhere over 3 feet, and it's going to go into compost mode and heat up, right, and rot. Of course, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's why there was a giant garbage fire in Iqaluit for 6 months, is because of the lack of oxygen that was in their garbage dump, and it composted, and it spontaneously combusted. Well, we had one up there in Grand Falls, Windsor, there, I don't know, 10, 15 years maybe, and the dump was closed down, but when we went for walks up toward the park, and that there was this blue haze there, and it was a strong smell there, and this was going on for months until they went up and they had to dig the ground up and get this contained. Whew, scary. So anything over under 3 feet, you know, like you know. I made a mistake one year of like I was composting, and I wanted to know if it was working, because the compost pile, you know, it can go to 150 degrees, and I made the mistake of taking my hand and driving it down to see if it was working. And boy, I hauled my hand out pretty fast, or my arm out pretty fast. You know, I was 3 or 4 days trying to get the smell out of my arm. Oh my goodness! Wow. You know, right? So you know, there are things going on when it accumulates, right? My goodness, I had no idea. Kevin, you've added so much to the discussion and given me, you know, learning is fun. I always say that, and it's great. Not only does learning new things stave off Alzheimer's, according to research, but it's also a very interesting way to remain interested in everything that happens all around you. So thank you for bringing this into my brain, and I'm sure our listeners are also
grateful. And I'm going to do a little bit of research on Mercury. Yeah. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Ooh, scary. Anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, that's good. Just keep reading, and maybe you can avoid Alzheimer's.
Gosh, I hope so.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's one of my biggest fears is to lose my brain.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, both you and me both. Well, let's stay active. And thank you, Kevin.
Exactly. All right. You're welcome.
My best to you in Grand Falls, Windsor. Thanks for joining us tonight. Bye bye.
Bye.
Wow. That's interesting. I'd love to hear from other individuals who, even some people who worked in the plant in Grand Falls, Windsor, if they have any sort of comment on that.